Hey everyone, it's Carolyn and welcome back to Contemporary Mama. Today's video is another episode of my monthly freezer cooking series. I am so excited for everything that I'm going to be making today. I'm going to be making a huge double batch of the Skinny Taste Bolognese. I absolutely love this stuff and it freezes great. I'm also going to be making some quinoa breakfast bowls. These are going to be perfect for busy mornings on the go, or I can bring them to work and enjoy them there. And then last but certainly not least is a double batch of crockpot chicken teriyaki. So this is a great dump and go crockpot meal. You all know we love those for busy nights. So let's head right on into my kitchen. I'm gonna get started with the bolognese because it takes the longest. It has to cook for quite some time. I have an entire dedicated video to this, so I'm just gonna kind of breeze through it and kind of show you the process. But in that video that I mentioned, I make it both in the crock pot and in the Instant Pot, but today I'm gonna end up making it on my stovetop because again, I'm doubling the recipe, so it is gonna make a lot. So let's get started on that and I'll show you how fast and easy this is gonna be.
The first thing that I'm going to do before I go ahead and put together any of the meals is wash and prep all of my produce. This is going to make your freezer cooking session go so much quicker and so much more smoothly if you have all of this done ahead of time so that you can easily assemble your meals. So I'm going to go ahead and wash and peel an entire bag of carrots as well as 2 stalks of celery before I go ahead and dice everything up. Now for the bolognese sauce, I'm going to dice up 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, and an onion pretty finely. For my quinoa breakfast egg bowls, I'm only going to be slicing up an onion. I'm going to be using frozen peppers, which I'll show you a little bit later on in the video. And then last but not least, for my teriyaki chicken crockpot meal, I'm going to be cutting up the rest of that bag of carrots, but you can just cut those into bite-sized pieces, as well as slicing up a red onion. And we'll be dividing that into making 2 bags, so we'll have 2 of those teriyaki chicken meals. I'm going to get started with my bolognese first because that takes the longest. Now I'm doubling the recipe, so it's going to make a ton, just warning you. I have 8 ounces of pancetta and I love that it already comes diced up. I'm going to add that to a pan over like medium to medium high heat and let that cook until the fat starts to render. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of butter and all of my chopped veggies. I'm going to let that cook for like 6 to 8 minutes. You'll see the veggies start to soften. Once they soften, I'm going to go ahead and add my meat. Now you need 4 pounds of ground meat. I like to do a mixture of beef and turkey so you still get all of that yummy beef flavor, but it's also a little bit leaner because of the ground turkey. I add that into the pan and just start breaking it up with my wooden spatula until it's completely browned. I definitely don't forget to add in some salt and pepper. This is a lot of meat, so don't worry about having a heavy hand with the seasonings. I let that brown away, and then while that is browning, I'm going to go ahead and start opening my cans of crushed tomatoes. I have 4 cans of 28-ounce crushed tomatoes, and I'm still loving this electric can opener I got from Kitchen Mama. Once it's all browned, I like to go ahead and drain the fat from the meat. That's optional, but just what I like to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in a cup of white wine and let that cook until it has cooked down completely. Now I tried making this in my Instant Pot, but unfortunately I totally failed and I didn't stir in the tomatoes enough, so I got a burn message on it. So I ended up cooking it on my stovetop for like a couple of hours. But if you want to make it in your Instant Pot, all you do is pressure cook it for 20 minutes and then let it natural release. started on my breakfast bowls. I'm going to be starting with making the quinoa. Quinoa is so easy to make. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So here I'm using 1 cup of dry quinoa to 2 cups of liquid, and this is going to give me 2 cups of cooked quinoa. So I love using chicken broth for my liquid. It gives it so much flavor, so you don't have to add a ton of seasoning. It's going to taste great on its own. So once you add in your liquid, just cover it, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer away for 15 minutes. So while my quinoa is going, I'm going to get started with my eggs. I was planning on making 4 of these breakfast bowls, so I like having 2 eggs for breakfast. So I'm going to go ahead and add 8 to the bowl. Get that scrambled up along with some everything but the bagel seasoning. So here's everything all ready to go. I have my egg mixture, my onions we sliced earlier, and then I'm going to use this bag of frozen peppers. And at the last minute, I decided to throw in some chopped kale. Now I'm going to get my pan preheated with some olive oil. Go ahead and add my onions and let those start to soften. Once they're, a little bit soft, I'm going to go ahead and add in my peppers. Since these were frozen, they did release a lot of liquid, which I drained out. I definitely don't want soggy egg bowls. And then once those are pretty much almost cooked all the way through, I just push those all the way to the side and then cook my egg mixture all in the same pan. I'm trying to avoid washing as many pans as possible. So I just let those cook away, kind of like stirring them every now and then until they are all scrambled. Then all you need to do is add in your kale. You could definitely use spinach too. Great way to sneak in some greens and let that kind of like mix in, and it's just going to wilt a little bit, which is perfect. And by now my quinoa is all cooked, so I'm going to go ahead and add that all into this pan. I wanted to have it all incorporated, but you could definitely layer it in your containers if that's what you prefer, but I thought it looked extra tasty, kind of like all mixed together and letting all the flavors combine nicely. So I'm just moving that off to the side, and then once it is cool, I'm going to add it into my little bowls here. I was planning on only making 4, but there was just so much of this mixture that they were all filled up, so I ended up getting 5, which is awesome. I got an extra one that I wasn't even planning on, so it's going to give me 5 awesome breakfasts. I'm topping this with some salsa and cheese. Yes, you could add this the morning of you're planning on eating it, but this is going to freeze just fine, so I figure I might as well do it now so that all I have to do is reheat it whenever I want to consume it. And look at how pretty, yummy, and tasty these are. I've already had one and it's delicious. Now, last but not least is the easiest dump and go crockpot chicken teriyaki. I'm going to be making these in these gallon-sized freezer bags, so I always like to start off by labeling them so that I don't have to do it once the food is already in it. So I put the date, the contents, and the instructions in there so that no matter who's making it, they'll know exactly what to do. So each bag is going to get a can of chunked pineapple, so I'm just going to let that go ahead and open up with my electric can opener. I love this thing, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop my chicken. You can add as much chicken as you want, as much as your family is going to need. I'm doing, I think, about 2.5 chicken breasts in each bag. Now all that's left is to divide all the ingredients into each bag, so I'm just doing half of that carrot and onion mixture that we prepped earlier, and then I'm going to mince 2 garlic cloves into each bag as well. Now it wasn't in the recipe, but along with that can of pineapples and the juice, I'm going to add in a little bit of ginger. I just think that would add some great flavor, and I have frozen ginger in my freezer at all times, and then I just add in half of my chicken as well. Now, this isn't chicken teriyaki without teriyaki sauce, so I'm adding about a cup to the bag, and then I try and get out all the air before I freeze it. After about 3 hours of simmering, my bolognese is pretty much done, so I'm going to go ahead and add the finishing touch, which is a cup of half and half. Now I usually add in some parsley too, but I prefer doing that right before I serve it, so I'm going to leave it out at this time. So I'm gonna let my bolognese sauce cool before I go ahead and add it to the freezer bags. I got 4 of these quart-sized freezer bags filled with sauce, so that's gonna give me a lot of meals. Plus I saved some for dinner tonight. So doubling the recipe really feeds an army. I'm looking forward to enjoying this over the next few months. Here are my little breakfast bowls. I'm so excited that I got 5. I was only planning on getting 4 out of this, but they pretty much filled up these Tupperwares completely, so that was a great surprise. These are going to be the perfect breakfast to just stick in the fridge the night before. I can heat it up in the morning or bring it to work, and it has a ton of protein from the eggs and the quinoa, so it's really going to fill me up all day. And then I have 2 of these crockpot chicken teriyakis. They're packed with vegetables, so all I'm going to have to do is make a little bit of rice on the day that I want to cook these, and dinner is going to be done. So I am so excited about this freezer cooking session. So many delicious foods going in my freezer. It's going to make my life so much easier over the next few weeks and months.
Alright you guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I love freezer cooking. It has been such a lifesaver for me to have ready to go homemade meals tucked away in my freezer that I can pull out on those busy nights when I'm just too tired or too lazy to cook. So don't forget, I'm gonna have the whole freezer cooking playlist linked down in the description box. So if you need even more ideas and inspiration, you can click on that and see all the different episodes, because again, I make these videos every single month. So I wanna thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on Tuesday with another brand new video. Bye guys.